Superintendent Kingsley will now make remarks to the Board of Education and to the public.
Thank you. Members of the public, members of the board, good evening. I'm so happy to be here with all of you tonight. Kai and Shayna are a very difficult act to follow, but I certainly will do my best. I think it's really important as we talk about the power of being seen and affirmed. I want to take a point of privilege to acknowledge that tonight is the second of two nights that celebrate the first set of High Holy Days for our Jewish community who have been celebrating their New Year. So I want to wish Happy New Year to all of those in our community that are celebrating. I believe before we reconvene on October 4th, their next holy day will be Yom Kippur. And so those who celebrate and or participate in those particular activities, I wish them a good fast and a happy holy days ahead of them. There is a lot of power, not just in the humanity that makes this district tick every single day, but I also think what takes it to the next level is the focus of our work and our shared goals. And I think that's why many of us are here tonight to learn about that. As we continue to work thoughtfully in partnership with our community and staff on the development of a strategic plan, I do want to take a brief moment to just highlight the power of that focused work and sharing common goals as a community and as a system. We're building a plan for our students and this system together. And it's going to take all of us to lean in, to speak about uncomfortable truths, but to also celebrate and realize that we have great things happening in this system every single day. I have so many stories to tell, and I'm going to try to keep them brief. But as I went to several schools on Monday, and I do want to share a few highlights. One is O'Day Core Knowledge Elementary School. Principal Lori Corso and the assistant principal Ryan Joel, they have with their team, and it's licensed staff, classified staff, the bus drivers who are dropping kids off in front of that school every day, the parents who have trusted that community to take their children to new heights. They have struck a beautiful balance of what I like to describe as belonging and accelerating learning. Now, if you just went to our state's website and pulled up their statistics on student achievement, you will see across all of their subgroups, they're exceeding growth and are one of the most competitive schools in all of the state of Colorado. But what makes that culture go is that they've bought into something bigger than themselves. I have a picture here of their fifth grade students participating in Eco Week. And there's a student here, and I'm not going to share for the public, but it was the first time she smiled this year. Having an experience outside in the community with her peers, outside of a traditional setting and being immersed in experiential learning, brought out that person's character, their soul, their identity in a way that now that faculty understands how to tap into that children's joy and their brain and their heart. Last year alone, O'Day Elementary School fundraised over $74,000 in 2 weeks. Yesterday, they kicked off their fundraiser event. They're trying to renovate their playground. I will tell you the pictures, they're dreaming of Disney World. The principal and the assistant principal launched their fundraising activity and dressed as park rangers. I watched half of the school community just in awe. And it wasn't just the children, it was the teachers and the other staff members who realized they were participating in something bigger than themselves. It is possible to cultivate a culture centered on belonging that's inclusive of all children and still perform academically at high levels. I will tell you, when we look at our district data and you see the bumps and the dips around COVID, that school is an outlier. Straight up into the upper first quadrant of any grid that you would look at each and every year. They did not regress. There was no learning loss for the majority of their students. We have a lot to learn from that school. I had an opportunity following that visit to go to Linton Elementary School and met with Principal Kristen Stolte and her assistant principal, Mandy Benedict, and went to many classrooms. And one thing that makes Linton great is there's a diverse level of learners academically, culturally in that building. And I had the opportunity to watch, and I want to make sure I get her name right, Charity Krantz, one of their interventionists, meet with two young girls who had recently come to our country within the last few weeks. And Ms. Krantz's role was to try to figure out with these children to tap into their joy, to make them feel psychologically safe, and identify ways that they can participate in playground activities with their peers where they knew how to advocate for themselves. And to watch those two children smile and laugh and learn English all at the same time and feel respected and loved was quite incredible. I walked into the first grade classroom teacher next door, Mrs. Bender, and she was doing an incredible English language arts lesson, and they were transitioning to their snack. And she had a new student, new to our country, that she leveraged technologies that not only know if she needed a snack, but she could be very specific using this technology in her own language to be able to advocate for what specific snack she wanted. Now that seems so rudimentary, but making people feel like they belong matters. We have a lot of work to do in this district to continue to make sure all children feel that, but I'm incredibly grateful to be a part of the system where that's happening across the system every day. Again, it doesn't mean that we don't have spaces to improve, but it is happening at high rates every single day. I'll share, I ended my day yesterday at Fort Collins High School. I met with their entire counseling team briefly, and I met with 20 to 25 of their teachers, both licensed and classified staff, who wanted to just chat with me after school. And what I would share with you is that there's incredible things happening at Fort Collins High School. I know it's my job to advocate for schools, but that is a school on the move, folks. We have preliminary graduation rates. Their school, I'm not really allowed to share, but I'm going to share a little bit. It's a teaser. Their graduation rates increased almost 8% last year, the highest in at least 13 years. There is great work happening in the system, and it didn't happen by accident. It happened because people were believing in something bigger than themselves in the midst of a chaotic societal environment where we were not finding ways to address civil discourse. We weren't finding ways to agree on things in a lot of cases. But in spite of all that, we have places that are thriving. And I'm really proud to be talking to you about that tonight. As some of you have been watching tonight, and you may have heard through our development of our strategic plan, one of our district priorities is ensuring that all students not just graduate, but that they graduate with options. I just shared with you a little factoid about Fort Collins High School, but what I can tell you is that all of our high schools have seen improvements in preliminary graduation rates, and some of them are the most significant increases in 13 years. What I would tell you as a district, and I wish I could tell you the specific numbers, but they're preliminary. I don't want to get out in front of myself. But the increases that we've seen in giving chances to young adults to have opportunities post-graduation are some of the highest graduation rates that this district has seen in over a decade. That is not because of a superintendent. It's because people who have been doing the work for decades in this system, who have cared, for families to have trusted us, for people to have challenged us productively and professionally to think better, to think differently, and for us to be strong in ourselves and our convictions around what our sole purpose is, which is to educate children and make people feel seen. And I'm grateful that we're a part of that. I also believe, like this board, is that confidence of our public is rooted in performance. Strong, healthy, excellent schools drive public trust. I've showed with you tonight and talked to you a little bit about perfect examples, but I want to thank you again, and Rob, thank you for alluding to what was on our agenda tonight earlier. Thank you to the voters. Tonight you're going to hear a presentation about our capital projects that are existing throughout the district that only could be possible as a result of voter turnout, voter trust, and we're excited to talk to you about where we are and where we're headed in that particular space tonight. And I just want to close with a friendly reminder is that there's more work to be done. This is simply the beginning. And those of you that have already engaged in our strategic plan development process and have attended various community engagement sessions, one, thank you. Your your feedback has made not just this process, but our plan, our draft framework, incredibly strong and inclusive. We have more community engagement sessions this week and on the horizon. So if you haven't yet had the opportunity to make sure your voice is heard in that process, we invite you. You are welcome. And we want to push each other to make sure that everybody is represented in that process. There's a lot of great work happening in our system. I'm happy to be a part of it, and I'm happy to be a part of this governance team. Thank you.